You are here to talk about continuous authorization and monitoring, CAM. And we've had some amazing enhancements in this last release. And I am very happy to be joined by my colleague, Dharav. Dharav, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, Tarav here from the product management team. Nice to be here and walk you through the new enhancements.
Awesome. He's going to do an amazing live demo, so nobody go away. But before we get started, we've got a few housekeeping tips here. You are on mute. If you've joined us before, that's pretty standard, but we do have that Q&A button at the bottom. So please use the Q&A. We want to make this interactive. We want to make sure that you get your questions answered. We are recording it, so if you've got colleagues that are able to join you, you'll be able to share it with them later on our GRC playlist, YouTube playlist. I will put the links to that in the chat a little bit later in the session. And at the very end, if you can stick around for a minute, we do have a short survey, and we very much appreciate it if you could fill it out because it gives us ideas about what we should be doing next for our webinars. So with that said, we are very excited to have released some new updates on the ServiceNow store for our risk and compliance products, all four actually of the products in our GRC portfolio. And we're going through a series of webinars. So last week or the week before, we talked about business continuity management. We also talked about risk management. That one was really big. You guys need to see that if you didn't actually tune in. Again, check it out on the YouTube playlist. Our third-party risk management had some amazing new enhancements to that also. Today, we're talking about continuous authorization and monitoring, but we're not done. So join us later this week, where we'll be talking about compliance management and audit management, where again, we have some great integrations. The CRR accelerator is something that's really, really, really interesting and really valuable that you all will make sure you don't want to miss that one. So that's very interesting. And then we continue the following week with our compliance case management and our regulatory change management application enhancements. And we finally finished with privacy management, which has, again, a huge enhancement to it in personal data rights. So please do not miss any of those. But if you do, again, they're on demand on our playlist. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dharav, who's going to walk you through a few slides, and then he's going to jump into that live demo and show you it all in action. Dharav, take it away.
Super, thank you for that, Teresa. Welcome everyone again, and happy to walk you through amazing changes that we did this time with the CAM application. So at high level, what you see on your screen is exactly how the new look and feel would be for the CAM workspace. So that's the very first introductory page that you're looking at. But what we've done in this Xanadu release is not just a new workspace, but we started supporting OSCAL. Yay! NIST has been promoting OSCAL for a long time, and we are happy to partner into it. We did their adoption workshop even on the NIST side. So OSCAL Export is what we have this year. We also have ATO artifacts, which are more than SSP. So we will talk about that. And there are some new landing page, 360 view, some small miscellaneous enhancements that we are bringing up this year. So with that, let's see what's exactly coming with the workspace. So in the workspace, we start with homepage. You get a new overview for your boundary, your package. You get a unified task page as well, where you could manage your tasks similar to how it works in other workspaces. The widgets are all configurable that you see. You have a contextual pane, which is a side panel for different areas. And even the dashboards are migrated. So the dashboards that you've been using in the Classic, they are also migrated in Workspace, and you would have it integrated within the Workspace itself. With that, OSCAL export, I'm just giving preview of how it would look like. We're going to support SSP profile, catalog, overlays. These are different files which get generated. You have a UI action, which we'll look at in details. We have a new poem landing page. This is a sneak peek to that before we get into the tool. Again, you also have ATO artifacts. So till now, it was only SSP. Now we move on to SAR, poem, which are also generated out of the box. And the best part is it's not a PDF output. it is a word output. That means you can edit them, you can modify the way you want it, and then present it to your high level executives. So that's been something which was asked for a long time. So that's coming up. We have some screenshots of how it looked like. We also added related objectives. So niched content is very rich and it gives us good data. So if a control objective is related to some other objectives, we also enable that. And again, the content comes out of the box. So we'll talk more when we see the demo. We also have related controls. So because the control objectives are related, when the controls are generated, you also have the controls which are related to it. Control family. Again, I'll just move on with the slides because we'll actually see all of this in action in the tool, but I'm just highlighting what else came. So control family is something that we've also introduced where you have the family name, the family ID, which again comes out of box from NIST. This will help everyone for better reporting and see how the controls are performing at each family level. So that's where it comes into picture. We have a new control allocation based on the family. So all the 20 families of it, you can see if it's system specific, a control is hybrid, and how many controls are there for each family that you have chosen in the package. With that, moving on to the assessment part. So in here, we did enhancement to your procedures. Now, procedures, so far we heard it's getting good feedback that yes, we have that granular level details. But what we also added is, hey, what if a procedure is not effective? What if I want to give additional information? So you have notes available as well. You now have a way to attach fields. So if you have any proofs you want to attach to it, you can have that as attachments. You can also do it on the list view, and this is how it looks like. So you don't have to drill down into each of them and open it one by one, but you could do all of them here, effective, not effective, and write your notes right here. Finally, the 360 view, which is helping you move across your package, your boundary, what things are related to it, if you have overlays applied, poems, and you could all go through it. So these were most of the high level changes that we did with the new release. I hope you guys are as excited as I am, and we're going to delve into the instance right away with that. So with that, let me get into the other screen, which is my instance. Any questions, feedback, any thoughts, early thoughts that you have based on what you've seen? Just let me know via Q&A or put it in your chat and we will address them. Okay, so I'll now move on to the workspace. The navigation is the same way. You go to workspaces, you click on CAM workspace, and that's going to load up my instance. Now, while this loads up, today the workspace is very much specific. It's very much generic for all the CAM personas that we have, but we are going to make it very specific to each persona going in the future iterations. So today, any persona goes in with CAM role would see the same view. However, they would see filtered data based on their roles. So based on my access, if I only have access to 14 boundaries and 15 packages, that's what I see. But if someone has higher level access, they would see more data. So that's been taken care. With that, the first thing is boundaries. Everything is interactive. You can drill down on them. You can select and report how you want it, and you can even go ahead and refresh them. So if you know there's some real-time changes happening with your team, you want to look at the dashboard as an executive, as a member, you would be able to do it. Next, we see all the packages. So these 7 steps are listed here, and you see them by package. You have your mission critical boundaries, which helps you understand, all right, out of 14, which of those are mission critical and under what state are they? So it's a subset of what you see on the top. Similarly, for the packages that you have, what is the impact level for each of them? So you see it as a bifurcation below. I hope this will give a good high level view for your instance across your boundaries, across your package, so you know where different things are and you can take the right action. Again, if it's a person who's been working on it on a regular basis, on the right hand side, you would see if there are any open tasks, if there's anything for approval, or if there's anything overdue. Similarly, if you have groups created, if you have your configuration done in that way, you could see your group tasks and things on the right-hand panel. Moving down, you would be able to track all your controls that are active in the system, bifurcated by what's compliant, what is not compliant. Again, what you see there is interactive, and you can drill down on them. We also see the control test. Again, everything of this is at your instance level. So you know, oh, there are certain things which are overdue. You can immediately take actions by drilling down on them, looking at the list, and you know whom to reach out for it. Further, we also have poems. There has been a few enhancement to poems. Poems are basically issues, which is similar to issues tagged as poem, which is plan of action and milestones in CAM world. So what we've done is any issue which is related to your package, then we make it and bring it up as a poem. It could be a control attestation failure. It could be a control test failure. It could be an issue on your engagement for the package. Then it would get populated here. So that's how we are pulling it out separately. And we see them what's overdue. So you can again take action on them. That is the home page to start with. Next, we have the tasks page. In this case, because I'm logged in as an admin, I would not have, but let me impersonate as a system owner. So Susan Orwell is the system owner in this case. And I'll go to the workspace. And here we go. So again, here is my attestation. If I have PTA, PIA, I could directly see it here. Anything that I have requested, I would see it here. The issues I created on authorization packages, I could track all of them here. So that's the task page, how it looks like for a specified user. I'll end my impersonation and I'll walk through most of this as an admin, just in the interest of time, because we're going to create a package end to end and we're going to see the new functionalities as well. Coming back to the CAM workspace. So you saw the task page, and now let's look at the poems page. Now this page is a bit different than your issues landing page that you might have seen in compliance workspace or your risk workspace. Majorly, it's because you don't see entity anymore. You see your packages. So now the entire piece, you could see that the page gets filtered based on the package that you select here. And that means you could report better on it. You could have your monthly reports for specific views with specific packages on it. So it allows you to do more things. Again, the widgets are all configurable. Milestone, acceptance task, evidence request. On the right hand side, triage issues. If you also have better together, like if you also have compliance and you're using some issue with the same persona being assigned two roles, then you can still see all of these things in one screen. So that's my poems page. It also gives us the new poems which were in last 30 days and allows you to bifurcate by priority or rating and things like that. Similarly, for each of them, we have given the drop downs for different filtering options. And now comes the main part, which is the new list view. So here we bifurcated your menu items into different categories. So RMF basically deals with boundaries, package, and a library of information types. So we've clubbed them together. Let's look at a boundary, maybe demo common provider boundary. So the moment I go into a boundary, it gives me how many packages do I have in here and in what state. So if I had multiple packages, it would show me multiple rows with multiple data and what comes from filter versus what is manually added. The flow is similar to what you have in your classic, but the UX is now different. It's much more friendly. So you define your boundary, you have your diagrams attached. I've already attached it here. So I can go to view image and it will show me, all right, this is my data flow diagram in the case. So for each of them, I've made the attachments, but you could see this icon if you want to delete it, if you want to modify it. So you could attach them here. You can set your boundary filters. I've added a demo filter. Let me also walk through that. So a demo filter with what is the table name that I want to search for and what are my conditions I want to put. So again, this is the workspace experience where you have your filter conditions defined. I'm saying classes anything, then show me all of them. So I wanted the most results. And I see, all right, there are 2000 plus records which are matching my assets. Again, I have this breadcrumbs to easily navigate back, and my system elements were populated. But if I want, I could have gone as a new, and I could have selected again a table, maybe Windows Server. Or a Windows cluster. Okay, in this case, it's Windows Server, and I could select a specific asset that I know of. So in this case, let's say load balancer 1 is what I want, and I would have added it. So what happens is my system gets updated with it, and it gets added over here as 2818. So if I say from filter, the first one which is false is the one which got manually added as Windows balancer. And finally, I would have created my package. So this flow has been very common across. So I just wanted to walk through on how the boundary is created. The rest, everything is now on the package. Coming to the package side, you first get welcome with the overview screen. Again, you would see tiny details like record type is shown on the top, your number, what state is it in, because although you see the stepper component, which tells you you are here, but if you were on some other screen, you wouldn't know what step it is in. So we've added that here. You know the system owner, you know what version are you working on, is it Rev 4 or Rev 5, and what was the impact level of your package. In the side panel, you would also see the CIA values of it and different personas that are assigned to this package. It also tells you if it was a privacy sensitive system and what is the boundary it came from. So these are all the basic details that you would start seeing once you are in this view. What I'm going to do for today is I'll create a net new package again with a new boundary. So I'll say today's boundary for this example, test description. I'm going to keep it in under development and I'm going to save this.
So
Okay.
Duran,
Yep.
how many attachments can you have? Would you have multiple data flow diagrams or boundary diagrams, or would you just have one of those?
Today we just have one because what we see is when they have a boundary for the entire boundary, they generally have a common one, but for each boundary you could have separate one. So they are interlinked in some way, and hence the network diagram, boundary diagram is all one out of the box. But would be happy or interested to learn if there are some other use cases where they need multiple attachments. We are happy to hear that. Yep.
Wonderful. If there's any more questions, please put them in the Q&A.
Super. So the moment I save my boundary, I start seeing my overview, and it gives me my boundary filter, system elements. So in this case, I'm just going to add one system element without any filter. I'll just pick up the same Windows Server to be on a faster way, and I'm going to select some other asset. So what we've done is the previous one that we saw, the previous package that I've created as a provider package, where you also have a common control, where you're also providing certain things. And in this, we will be consuming certain controls as inheritance. How the hybrid functionality works, we would like to showcase those. So now that I have one system element, I'm going to go to my package and I'll create a new package. Generally, what you do is if you have a bunch of systems which are going to go live into your production or into a network, you have all of them in your system elements, and then you create one package. This way, you avoid your control explosion and you just create one control per package rather than 15 controls of same type for 15 elements. So that's how it helps. I'm going to call this CAM demo package. You can have an acronym for it if needed, or you can skip it totally. I can choose the revision 4 or 5. My boundary got auto-populated. I'm not going to select the mission business process in this case, but I'll just assign a user for each of them. So I have certain users with set roles. Again, for each of them, you can only select the roles where it is applicable. So for ISSO, it will only show me a filtered list of users who have that role so that they don't have to worry that they were named in the instance or in the record, but they are not able to access it. So we've done it that way. Again, below going down ICPT APIA, if there is any privacy information, I'm just going to say no for all of them. However, if I would have said yes for any of them, it would shoot a PIA and it will ask me whom it should go to. But in this case, for the sake of demo, I'm just going to say no. If I have any additional notes, I could write them over here. There's nothing for this case, and I'm just going to save this. Now you notice the moment I save it, it gives me overview, but it's limited. So because it's a fresh package, it's still in prepare state. I don't have any controls or any details about it. So we are hiding everything until it moves into the relevant state. Going back to the details, I can see everything is populated fine. And right now I'm in prepare step. I'm good to move to the next step, which is categorize. So today we're going to go through all these 7 steps and we'll see how the workspace experience works like. So the moment I say categorize, it needs an approval, and I'm going to say request an approval. I think I've already clicked that. Let me go ahead and reload this. So now that my package is in categorize step, I will have an option to add information types. This is a new related list that got populated. So I'm going to click add, and it allows me to create or add different information types. I can filter by different categories, or I can simply select the ones which I feel are applicable in this case and say add. Now it comes pre-populated with CIA values. Again, all of this is coming from NIST. So the library that you saw, it comes from NIST, but you can always go ahead and add more things to the library. Just for the context, you can go to list and there this on the list here, and that's where you will also find the information types library. Now that I've added information types, I can go ahead and request approval before moving to the next step. So out of box, from categorize to select and from select to implement, there is an approval in place. So that is out of the box. And again, there'll be an approval in the final step of authorize. So right now, for moving it to categorize, I need to go ahead and approve it. In real life scenario, this would be your authorizing official in this case, or it could be AODR who was listed there. So in this case, I see approvals. It was sent to 2 of them, Alan and Ian Morgan. Both of them have the roles, so anyone can go ahead and approve it. I'm going ahead and saying approved for one of them. The moment I say it approved by one, it will automatically mark the other as not required. So if you see in approvals, it says no longer required, and one of them has approved this. Because this was approved with an information types, and with the information type, what it also does is it creates an impact. The impact was moderate, so my baseline controls got auto picked up. Any control which had impact as moderate were pulled up automatically for you. Again, all this content comes directly from NIST for revision 5. Now that I have all my control objectives, I can go ahead and say, hey, 286 objectives, I understand, but this particular objective is maybe not applicable for me. I'll write my justification here and I'll say confirm. So what happens is there's a new tab which comes up which says not applicable. I can say, hey, device lock is nice, but I don't implement it. I need to inherit it from another provider. So there's already another common control provider in place. And when I go ahead and click here, it will by default give me all the providers, in this case, common provider package and device lock, because that's the name of my control objective. So I can say, yes, I want to go ahead and inherit from here. Had I had more providers, I would see them in the list here. I'm going to click confirm and it will move it to inherited controls. Let me just refresh it once more. So you would see, okay, one of them got inherited. You can also do a hybrid in the same scenario. So let's say remote access. I'm going to say it's a hybrid control, meaning I'm not entirely inheriting, but some of the requirements is what I want to inherit. So I'll say only one requirement in this case, which I want to inherit, and it will be my hybrid control. So the very first time it would need a refresh and you would see it in the list, but any more classification that you do as inherit or hybrid, it will continue populating here. So now that I have at least one of each types for this demo, I think it's good enough. I'm gonna go ahead and also mark some of the controls as common provider. When I say mark as common, what happens is whenever this package is in monitor state, these controls, which I marked as common, which you see it as true here, will be available for other package to inherit. So the inheritance works in that way. Someone has to be a provider and then you can inherit it. Having said that, I feel that's the selection, the tailoring of all my controls, which is done. I'm going to request an approval that, hey, this is what I feel is right for my system. Before requesting that, I just wanted to highlight we could have also selected and control overlay, which I didn't do in this case, but it's just a choose and select. There's no enhancement to it. It's the same as what it was in classic, what it is in the new experience as well. But you could select a policy and those controls gets added as your baseline control. Now that I have requested approval, let me go ahead and refresh this. I see it's already here. I'm gonna go ahead and say approved for that one. Again, in real life, I would have logged in as Alan Offerman. I would have gone to my task and it would have shown up right there. But just for the interest of time, we are approving it right here. And I'm gonna reload this page. With this, what happens is based on my selection here, my controls start generating. So if you see, it will keep on auto refreshing until all my controls are generated. Also, it will show me the poems list if there are any poems, and if there are any other changes, I would see that. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'll just refresh my package, and while it generates them, I'm going to show you the library. So in library list is where I had my information type library, which I said is a out of box from NIST, but you could always go ahead and add new to it. You can even export it out in different formats. Further in the list view, we have control objectives, your requirements. So all these libraries are on the left-hand side. The control overlay, you can even go and create a new overlay right from here and then use it for your packages. Your indicators, poems, engagements, and similar to what you had in your classic menu is what comes here. Let's go back to our package, and I think it should have done all of these control generation by now. It's still happening. There we go. I'll just give it a minute. In the meantime, are there any other questions that we have so far? Any comments?
I have not seen any, but this is an amazing amount of information. You've really just the work that was done on the workspace has been really impressive. The poems in particular. So you're saying that if there's an issue that's created, it will automatically get converted into a poem. So no one has to do anything to that.
That is right. If it's linked as a to a package, it will be in a poem, and then they can have a tracking task for it, a milestone for it, an acceptance task for it, which are very specific in the NIST way how you have to manage it. So the plan of actions and milestones are right there for us. We can even use the history over here to go through your package. So I don't even have to go always to my package and search for what I was working on. So history works as well. I can directly go from here to my package and I see, all right, there we go. Most of my controls are created. So I see there are 284 controls, which includes my 283 self-implemented ones and one hybrid control. So that's how it makes 284. So what we've also added is you now have controller location. So in my controller location, I see system specific, or if I sort it the other way, it will start with hybrid. So 1 plus 283, and that's all my controls here. If I go into my hybrid control, for example, again, I would see details about it, what state it is in, and I'll see it has two control requirements. one was inherited while the other was self-implemented. Now, here is one of the other enhancements we talked about, the related controls. AC17, although this is the control which was freshly created, I see there are 30 related controls to it. And these are with the reference number and these are the control numbers. Again, all these controls are within the same package and they are related. How did this work through? How did this come up is if I go to my control objective, which is remote access, on my control objectives, I have related control objectives. Now, if you see, there are 33 of them, but because the package only generated 30 controls out of it, then those are the ones which shows up. So if you have a control which is having a parent which are related, then it will show up in your related control. Maybe if I would have selected a low control, a low package, which would have all my controls, then it would have generated all the 33 ones. And this breadcrumbs, I really like. It makes it easy to navigate through the system. So that's going to be really helpful for many of them as well. Now that we are in the stage where you have your controls, let's go back to your details and have a quick look what's happening there. So now it tells me my system is an implement step, which means I'm ready to implement my controls. And it also still gives me all the other details if I ever want to look at. I can even collapse all of these sections and it gives me a smaller view so that whenever I need, I can expand what I need and collapse it. So again, all this is good in the workspace experience that we have. Now that the controls are created, I would actually go ahead and move each control through its life cycle. So for example, I would go into each of them and I see, all right, this control is for fire protection. It has a frequency annual and I can go ahead and have attestation for it. By default, it's a classic attestation which is there, which would go to Susan Orwell, or I could choose to go ahead and change it. So again, all of this is already taken care. In this case, you would notice there's no control requirements. So in last release, what we also did was, if I had a control which had requirements, let's say, for example, AC2. So if I open AC2, which is account management, widely used, in this case, if we come down to my attestations, I see there are control requirements, which are 12. If you have control requirements, it allows you to do attestation at requirement level as well. The moment I do it, you would have observed it changed the attestation to CR attestation, which is control requirement attestation. And now if I go ahead and click on attest, what this would do is, okay, I need to fill the implementation statement, how the control was implemented. So I'm just going to put in test for now. And I'm going to click test. So what this would do is instead of sending out one single attestation for the control, it would rather send out individual attestations for each of these requirements. Again, I could have opted that, hey, this should go to individual users by just double clicking on it and changing them and editing it. Right now, I've already sent out the attestation and it went to Susan Orwell. So if I go ahead and impersonate as Susan again, and if I come to workspace, what's going to happen is it will directly show me, hey, there are open tasks. Again, not all 96 are from there, but some of these would be from the attestation that we recently created. So you can go ahead and filter by entity over here. You could go ahead and filter by due date. Again, entity is actually your boundary. So today's boundary is what we had right now. So if I go ahead and say show matching, these are the ones that are there from that attestation. So you see, it's all about AC2. And now I can go ahead and take my attestations from here individually and say take assessments, or as Susan Orwell, I can also go to all, and here I can see my attestations. I can go ahead and say, hey, all of this are for me. I know how they work and I know which one I have to take right now. So I could actually choose them, for example, and I can even group them and take the attestation. So you don't have to individually take it. If it's assigned to the same person, they can even group it. I'm going to skip the attestation step for now, and let's go back to our admin persona. Now here, if I come back, I am going back to my package. I'll go to the package which was from my fire protection. I can navigate from there to my package as well. So cam demo package is the one where we were at. Now it's an implement step. I'm going to skip the control movement into each of them. But while I'm here, you would have seen that I see more things in my overview. I start seeing my compliance summary. I see all right, there are 284 controls. One was inherited, one is not applicable. It also gives me a split view of each of my family. That in this family, you had 36 system specific control and one was hybrid, a total of 37 out of these family. So this is a cool report, which I feel because I've seen this done by customers as a customization, or they do the reporting in Excel where they report by family. So now this comes out of the box. Going further, it also tells me the status of them. Currently, it's empty because I've not taken the attestation, but otherwise it would split into compliant, non-compliant. There are no poems for now. And if I go to details, it talks about the requirements. What is the status of each requirement? From here, I could move it to assess. Before moving to assess, I would like to showcase that we have the new UI action for generate SSP. Earlier in the classic, what we had was you were able to generate only the generate reports which generated only SSP, but now it allows you that as well as poem reports. Let's quickly see how generate SSP works. So the moment I click on it, it talks to me about, hey, if there's something existing, it will be overridden because you can only have one system security plan per package. So that's my SSP. I'm going to say okay. And this time it's going to generate the Word file. So had I been in the authorization state, I would also see one more layer here, which we'll see going further, which would be authorization. But for now, it will attach it on my side panel and I can see it as an attachments. Let's download and see how it looks like. There we go. It's downloaded. It's opening up. So it again comes in the exact same format that you had in PDF, and you can actually edit more things if you need, and you can update the things which are based on the reporting standards, and it still functions well. You can even add more details and then convert it to PDF and report it. So just wanted to highlight the new Word format output that we have started with this release. Let's move the package into the assess state. Now, the moment I go ahead and move it to assess state, what happens is it automatically creates an engagement. And within the engagement, it will also automatically create my control test, my test plans, and everything will start working up. So right now it says 284 controls. It will keep on refreshing my test plans to 84. Now it will start generating my control test. Again, all of this is automated. Today you might have seen in compliance space where it takes time. And I did see one of the questions in the chat that, hey, why is the refresh manual? So yes, it is automated in some case where we are able to. For the other place, we will be enhancing them as well. So you have this experience while it keeps updating. But while it updates, you can even do other things and you can take a moment to see what else do we have. So we have also migrated the dashboards, which were there, the three kinds of dashboards. So you had CAM overview, you have AVO overview, and SE overview. Again, because I'm admin right now, it shows me blank, but let's quickly jump over to Susan Orwell. Now, Susan Orwell, being a system owner, would not see all the three reports that were there, meaning migration wise as well. What we do is the dashboard, which was visible to a specific persona, is what comes up. So in this case, okay, I can see there are boundaries. If I had any poems, it would pull up my baseline controls. Where are they? My authorization packages and all. But if I try to drop down this, I don't see any other dashboard. as admin, you could see all of them. But if I log in as Alan, who is an authorizing official, he would see his own dashboard as well. So these are the ones which were in Classic, which got migrated. Let's go back to our admin persona. Please feel free to let me know your comments if you feel any feature is relatable to you, if you feel this is the right direction we're moving in, something else that you were expecting that we should add to this, we are happy to hear your thoughts. Coming back to my history, let's go back to my package. So again, we are in the CAM demo package. And if we go into the engagement, we should see we have all of our control tests which are generated. Now for each control test, again, when we go inside them, you would see they would have assessment procedures. So this is the other enhancement, that assessment procedures, you could go ahead and basically mark them effective, or you could select multiple and mark them as effective or not effective. Or I could go ahead and say, hey, it's ineffective. But why was it ineffective is something I can go ahead and type my notes here and add it. If I feel that, hey, it also needs some more details, I can actually go in here, read through the actual details, add more notes, and also attach any file attachments that I need. So again, you can have one attachment for each assessment procedure in your control test. And eventually, these details will update your control effectiveness, meaning any of your effectiveness is ineffective for your assessment procedure, it will impact the overall effectiveness of your control test, which will further, when I go ahead and close this, it will also go ahead and impact my control status, which is related to it. In this case, it's the training records control. I can click on this and I can see more details about that control. Coming back to my package, now that we are in, let's go back to overview. Now we know we are in the assess state and we have an engagement over here. We can see more details, like you now see risk summary. So for the system elements which were part of this, if you have any change request raised for it, that is what starts populating. If there were any security incidents, that would also populate here. If there were any vulnerabilities, so if you have our SecOps module and if you have VRM module installed, so any vulnerabilities on the same elements we have better together, that would also populate. Let me take you quickly through one more package wherein we would be able to see more data about the same. So I'm going to go to the package which is ending 28. And here, if we see, you could see in this case, I had some incidents, I had some vulnerable items, and one change request. So for each system element, how is it also performing in other areas is what is the data that we can bring it over here. You can even see those change requests as a related list. You could see those incidents as well. And if you want, you can also configure your vulnerable items if needed. So it depends on what modules you have installed and it works as a better together. Let's go back to our package, CAM demo. And now what we're going to do is just a second. There we go. And now what we're going to do is we are going to move this package into the next step, which is authorize step. So in authorize, again, before we move into authorize, it needs an approval. And while we are there, I would also like to call out that what we talked about different sections, it also populates in your details. So risk summary, although you see it outside, you would also see the details here. Authorization is what comes here and your SSP is already attached to it. So in this point, I can even generate my system assessment report. I can also generate my OM report. And in this case, we would not have much data, but I just wanted to showcase how they look like. So you can go ahead and download them. And again, these are in a specific format. Now, we try to take format by talking to multiple customers and what they feel they put in generally, and that's why it's out of box template. But you can always go to your templates and you can change the template from your HTML type. You can even go ahead and point it to another templates that you have, so you don't have to touch the out of box ones. So this is my SAR report, and I would quickly like to also showcase how my poem report looks like. This is very short. If you had open poems, it would be populated here. Your closed poems would be populated. In this case, there are no poems for this, so it's just a blank report. But that's how it comes as poem. In future iterations, we are going to expand to more different options like ATO letter, executive summary. You will also have your system reports after testing. So yeah, system as SAP report is also going to come up. Let's look at the other interesting part, which is our OSCAL. So today it's just a one click. If I click on export OSCAL, it says the report is being processed and file will be exported. It will be populated in our side view in the attachments. So it would take a minute or two. You could see it's generating certain things and it will have it updated in my attachments. So we can see it's generated my SSP. And here, if I come and if I say download, it is going to download a zip file for me. Let's have a look at how that looks like. So OSCAL SSP is what it generated. I'm just going to bring it from my other screen. So it generated my OSCAL SSP. I exported the data, extracted it out, and it gives me different JSON file. In this case, it is catalog, overlay, profile, and JSON, profile JSON and SSP. This is validated by across the OSCAL validator, meaning if you want to go and use any external validator to see, hey, is this really OSCAL compliant or not? You could go ahead and run this files across it and you would find it is validated. So we've done good an amount of testing that any reports generated and exported will be OSCAL compliant. You can take them into any other system and it should work properly. If you had some more attachments, even they would get populated over here. One thing I would like to call out is this does require a pro license. So if you don't have a pro license, the zip functionality wouldn't actually directly zip it out. But we are working on a new enhancement coming up in our next release in February, where you will have zip functionality without additional license as well. So if you have it, well and good. If you don't, it's coming up immediately in the next release. So don't worry about that. With that, I'm going to request approval. And in the meantime, have a quick look if there are any questions, queries, any other feedback. I see a question.
No, go ahead.
I see a question about how to access recording. And yeah, I see you've already shared the link.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be in our YouTube community and a specific link is shared for this particular demo. While the approval is getting in place, I see there is one more requested for authorizing this, where I would go ahead and approve it. And this moves it into monitor state. So this was my 7-step cycle, which happened for the entire package. Let's have a quick reload about it and see how it looks like. So right now it's in monitor state. I see an entire summary of my package. I see my risk summary. I also can go to details for it, and we have an overview. One thing missing is my 360 view. Let's see how that looks like here. So in the 360 view, again, you can go to your boundary, package, inherited controls everywhere. Let's start with the package. My centerpiece is packaged right now, and I have baseline controls. I can go ahead and filter data or click on it to go into any one of these controls and see more relationships, or I can come back. I can see what boundary it came from, what control was inherited. So if I say, all right, this control is inherited, what are the different policies, test template it applies, which controls are inheriting it, So I can see, all right, these are different controls which are inheriting it. And again, I see it came from which objective entity, things like that. So it allows you to keep on scrolling through, and entirely you can have experience in a graphical user interface like this GUI that we have, or you can click back into it and it takes you in the center and it takes you back to the form field that we have. So what we've seen so far is different reports getting generated. We saw the 360 view. We spoke about the related controls, the related control objective, some enhancement to the engagement where we saw assessment procedures, how it works, and what else you can do. Poems we have enhanced so that you now don't only have poems which are control test failures, but it includes attestation failures. It includes manually created issues on the package, on the engagement, or any other issue which was created and linked to the package. So that's the entirety of it. We saw the dashboards are migrated now. Again, they are visible based on the roles. We also looked at the dedicated page for poems where you could do more tracking for each of them. And you now have the task page. In our future iteration, what we plan to bring is today you are able to do an export of the poem. But how do you actually import export of the OSCAL? But how do you import an OSCAL package that you have received? So that is what we are working towards, and that's coming up in our February release. As well, let's have a look at the document templates. So the reports which got generated, SAP, SAR, and poem report, which I showed you the Word file. If you feel that, hey, I need to make some changes to it. So here are those reports. You can go into each of these and you would be able to make changes to it by editing the HTML. So I'll just quickly show you that experience as well. So basically the body of it is where we go ahead. It will take a minute to update. So basically the body part of it is where it allows you to go ahead and edit. Let me click on edit. I am in the right scope. There we go. It's loading up. So here is where I can expand, and this is how my poem report was generated. Let's say I want to edit some more words. I want to add my company logo. You could do all these edits right here as well. However, I still understand for some it's a bit cumbersome that, hey, it's an HTML. It's a bit different. Can we have it better? So we also looking at enhancing it. So the template itself is in Word, which makes it easy, and we will be consuming it. You might have seen the feature already out in our audit reports in last release. With this, we are also going ahead and consuming it for the upcoming release, where your templates itself would be in Word format. So the output can be PDF or Word that you like. One other thing I would like to call out is in the next release, how we are planning to go ahead and give the experience of the OSCAL export, which is automatically, it will go ahead and generate the OSCAL without the need of any further additional requirements. So what we spoke about there is, just give it a second to open up. Let's say you will have a UI action of this kind. So again, this is just a prototype work in progress, which we are going to come up in the upcoming release, where you say, I want to generate my OSCAL SSP, and it allows you want to download it. It will download and you have it directly in your browser. So that's the new experience coming up without need of any additional license that you need to buy. And you still get the zip output, which is exactly same as what we saw previously. So again, here you would see catalog, profile, SSP, and overlay. So just wanted to call that out from the OSCAL perspective as to what we are doing too. And that's more of it from the demo that we saw today. I hope this is something will very useful for you all. You start adopting more to it. If there is anything else that you feel we are missing, happy to hear it. Any questions, queries, anything else, any
Yeah,
comments?
I do not see anything in the questions panel, but my head is spinning because there is so much that you just showed us today. That was just incredible. If you do have questions, we've got a minute or two left here. You know, pop them in the questions panel there. We're happy to answer them. But you just reinvented CAM, I think, basically with this release. It was just crazy.
Super. And I would also like to thank all of our customers. They've been super interactive so far. They've been reaching out to us and for the information, right? If you have not interacted with us before and you would like to have some ideas, we have an idea portal where you could post your idea or you could email us and we would be happy to hear out your use case, how you are using it today, what would be enhancement that you would want to see, and we can prioritize it accordingly. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still here. If there are any more questions, any thoughts, any other things, happy to be
Yeah,
on
and
it.
we've got on the community, if you wanted to reach out on the community with the question for the idea portal, we can absolutely answer it for you there. There is a question about, you know, what is OSCAL, the term OSCAL, what does that stand for? If you have,
Mhm.
just
Yeah,
want to,
so OSCAL is basically Open Security Control Assessment Language. It is something that NIST promotes. You could just search for NIST OSCAL and they have detailed pages about it. And what they are trying to do is no matter what system you use, do you use ServiceNow, do you use something free out of box, do you use other systems? Each system should be able to communicate in the same language. Sometimes you extract report in Word, sometimes in Excel, and then you share maybe the other system is not consuming. So OSCAL is a standard they are saying, which is a JSON or an XML that can be the output, but it's a common language, a common structure where the data can be talked through in the machine readable format. So yeah.
fantastic. And we're out of time, unfortunately. If you do have other questions, you can find the community post, and we're happy to, you know, answer questions in there. I will, I hope you join us for more community webinars. You can also visit our risk page. I did put it in the chat, but you can use the QR code here to scan to look at our playlist and watch this recording, share it with your colleagues after the fact. And then, of course, register for more webinars. As I mentioned, we have a whole series, we're right in the middle of them, for this month of our new functionality in risk and compliance and all of our GRC products. If you're interested in more events or activities that's going on, we have a blog post that lists everything really for the whole year. It is dynamic. It is constantly being updated and changed. I encourage you to bookmark this so that you're able to reference it going forward and make sure that you stay up on what's going on here and interact with us because, as Darav says, we love hearing from you all. We love getting your feedback. And we very much thank you for your time that you've spent with us today. And I want to thank Darav for an amazing demo that literally blew me away.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, Teresa. And yes, if any of you want to get in touch, please drop your email on the comments and we will reach out to you or drop an idea on our portal.